Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms. And I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am. Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. This is the Lightning Flash Update Part number 1 for May 31st, 2019. The final day of May as we head into June, where the summer can officially begin, even though it's already felt like it. But regardless, Part 1, we got the weekly show reviews. I'm going to talk about all 5 of the weekly shows. And unfortunately, I need to start with Monday Night Raw. And I am going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that I believe everyone in the wrestling community, or at least everyone with an ounce of logic and common sense in them, was asking the same exact question and thinking the same exact thing. This is WWE's response to Double or Nothing that happened on Saturday, just 2 days earlier. Exactly. Kofi Kingston kicked off the show, calls out Lesnar. Rollins came out. Lesnar eventually came out wearing the new Brock Party t-shirt, and he made the Money in the Bank briefcase into a stereo. He was pretty much mocking Kofi Kingston and Seth Rollins, and this is what I don't like. This is what I don't like. You have 2 world champions in front of you, and Lesnar holds a briefcase that can cause a seismic shift in either world championship title picture, but yet you'd rather have him shuffle as if he's in the music video for Party Rock Anthem. That's not funny. I'm not laughing. It is a world title picture. Be serious. Please. If you found this funny, then you obviously have no respect for the World Championship title picture that is the WWE Championship and the Universal Championship. Please do not defend this. Rollins left. Brock and Heyman ended up leaving after Heyman said, Rollins ruined our Brock party. And then Ziggler came out, attacked Kofi. Woods came out, and then we had a big brawl between Ziggler and Woods that lasted throughout the commercial break. Kofi came back out after Ziggler already attacked him. He came out with a chair to help Woods because Ziggler was going to do the same thing to Woods as he did to Kofi on SmackDown. And Ziggler cut a great promo, but at the end of the day, no one cared because Ziggler, let me tell you something, Ziggler brings a newfound level of intensity when he's on the mic. Ziggler is great in the ring, he's great on the mic, and he really does bring out the intensity in pretty much every storyline that he's in. He brings out a good level of intensity, but at the end of the day, no one cares because Ziggler is merely being placed in there as an interim opponent because Kevin Owens refused to go to Saudi Arabia out of respect for his friend Sammy, who is not allowed in Saudi Arabia. And WWE isn't even trying to make this storyline interesting, and it shows. Then we go from that into Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre addressing the crowd. This is boring chants rained out, which was well-deserved, by the way. Shane then brings out Lance Anoa'i, Roman Reigns' cousin. Drew McIntyre destroys him before the match. Shane McMahon wins with a triangle choke. Roman Reigns came out and sent Shane and Drew packing. And by then, there was only 2 minutes of actual wrestling on the show as we are headed towards 9:30. Brock and Heyman came out again. Rollins came out. Rollins was sick and tired of waiting around and being mocked. He said that this was his life, encouraging Brock to cash in the briefcase. And then Heyman was reading off the rules of the contract, and Brock took the contract and started slapping him with it. And he's like, I got a full year to cash in? And Heyman's like, yeah, how do you not know? Brock took the microphone and said, oh, I got a full year to cash in. Seth Rollins, screw you. So that was that. You know, Ironically enough, a lot of truth continues to show its face in that entire promo, and Brock Lesnar was pretty much made to look like an idiot. Moving on. Becky Lynch and Nikki Cross defeated the Iconics. That's it. There's literally nothing to go over about this match. The Iconics continue to be the most worthless women's tag team in WWE history. I cannot wait until they lose the titles to Asuka and Kairi Sane. Not that it's going to make any much difference to the titles, but the titles are much better on Asuka and Kairi than they are on the Iconics. And then Lacey did her standard catwalk that she did throughout the entirety of WrestleMania season. What the fuck else is new? Ricochet versus Cesaro. This was actually a good match. This is actually better than last week's match with Cesaro and Ricochet. Ricochet, I need to address this. Ricochet is phenomenal at selling. Cesaro ran from one corner to the other corner, and he did an Oni Lorcan-like uppercut that sent Ricochet flying, and Ricochet landed headfirst on the middle turnbuckle, and I thought that might have been it. So, when Ricochet is in the ring, and you have a guy like Cesaro in there, you know you're going to get some great sells. Props to Ricochet. There was a point in time where Cesaro was going for a powerbomb. Ricochet reversed it into a sunset flip powerbomb. Close to count there. Ricochet did a springboard from the apron. Cesaro had him in the electric chair. Ricochet spun himself around into a Hurricane Rana leverage pin. Dropped Cesaro right on his neck for the win. Ricochet gets the win over Cesaro. And I'm happy to see Ricochet getting a win. But at the end of the day, what does this do? Doesn't really do anything. Unless they're going to have a third match, and then they're going to have Ricochet come out victorious, and, Ricochet wins the rubber match, and Ricochet's back on a winning streak, then okay, but at the end of the day, this was merely just 50-50 booking. Cesaro got the win last week. Ricochet got the win this week. Neither man's going to benefit from this if they don't capitalize on something with these two. Like I said, it's realistically, it's too late to push Cesaro as a singles guy. Ricochet is the main star here. Now, they could push Cesaro as a singles guy, and, I think that he could very well factor into the United States Championship title picture. I'm going to talk about that actually next, because it was announced that Rey Mysterio does have a separated shoulder, and he has to vacate the United States Championship. Samoa Joe then came out and said, I'll be waiting next week for Rey Mysterio to bring the title to me. I don't think Rey Mysterio is just going to hand the title over to Joe. I think a match is going to be made for Super Showdown. I don't think they're going to leave the United States title off the show. I think that, Joe's probably going to go into Super Showdown and face a couple mid-carders. They'll probably put The Miz in there as an interim opponent. And most likely, Samoa Joe will get back the title, but it's going to be in a match. So Rey Mysterio's not just going to hand the title over to Joe. They'll probably have a match to crown a new United States champion at Super Showdown. Speaking of Super Showdown, we had a fatal four-way between The Miz, Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, and Baron Corbin. Here's what I want to know. Why is why is Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman even in this match when they're already scheduled for a match at Super Showdown? That's number one. Number two, why are you booking this fatal four-way when realistically, all you had to do was have Brock Lesnar announce that he's cashing in at Super Showdown? I would have much rather have seen Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins than Baron Corbin and Seth Rollins, even if Seth Rollins is going to retain. Because we've seen Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins scattered throughout the course of the last 7 months on Monday Night Raw. What are they going to do differently this time than we haven't already seen? And why are you pushing Baron Corbin to begin with when the guy is of no value and importance whatsoever? The guy's a dead character. Nobody gives a shit about Baron Corbin. Nobody gives a shit about Baron Corbin. Because of WWE's reckless, uncreative booking, they killed Baron Corbin's character. I really shouldn't have to repeat myself on this. There's no value in Baron Corbin. There was, but WWE, just like they do all good things, they killed it. So Baron Corbin's facing Seth Rollins at Super Showdown. It's bad enough that it's supposedly rumored for Stomping Grounds and Extreme Rules. Now we gotta watch it at Super Showdown as well? Even if it's a throwaway show, I mean, come on! Put some fucking effort into the programming to make it interesting, even if it's a throwaway show. Even if it's a throwaway show. We had the Firefly Funhouse, and this was the other good thing. This was another good thing about Raw. This show was realistically 2 to 3 highlights. I'm bringing that back. I'm bringing that back from God knows how many months ago. Raw was merely nothing but a 2 to 3 highlight show. Everything else was a waste of time. The second highlight of the show was the Firefly Funhouse, in which Bray Wyatt introduced The Fiend. And The Fiend is here to protect you. Bray Wyatt said, Abby, the witch, is a bully. And then he did the spider walk limbo underneath a limbo stick. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Bray Wyatt does as far as his first feud. And I think I may have an assumption on who it might be. And we'll talk about that when we get to SmackDown. We had the electric chair segment with Sami Zayn, and I don't know if these people were scripted to ask these questions, but my God, were there some dumb fucking people in Kansas City. Sami Zayn actually mentioned AEW, and that was actually not a smart business move on WWE's behalf, because AEW was actually, I was looking up on Twitter, someone posted that AEW was searched up more times on the internet after Sami Zayn mentioned AEW on Monday Night Raw. So WWE pretty much gave AEW free publicity. You pretty much gave your competition free publicity. And I'm going to talk about one more thing when we get to the end of the SmackDown review. And then we get into the 3 shows that are actually worth watching. We went to a decent match between Rollins and Zayn. And look, it was a decent match for what it was. Sami Zayn working on the knee of Rollins. Rollins with the suicide dives. Rollins ended up winning with 2 stomps, sending a message to Brock Lesnar and Baron Corbin as he goes into Super Showdown to defend the Universal Championship. And again, it was a decent match, but at the end of the day, it meant nothing. It meant nothing. Sami Zayn has been portrayed like a loser ever since he came back from his injury. He's been given this critic of the critics gimmick, which is basically just Vince McMahon speaking vicariously through Sami Zayn. And it really is pathetic. It really is pathetic. I would not be surprised if Sami Zayn should be the next one to walk. Sami Zayn should be the next one to walk. We already have the Revival going after their contracts are up. The Good Brothers are going after their contracts are up in September. Mike and Maria Kanellis actually teased that their contracts are up in a little bit over 2 weeks, so they could be leaving as well. Complete waste of time. Monday Night Raw was. SmackDown Live was no better. SmackDown Live was no better. Outside of the opening match, which was a good match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens and Kofi Kingston, excuse me. I'm still thinking about Sami Zayn. Owens said that he didn't attack Big E. Kofi called Owens a liar. We had a decent match between Kofi and Owens. Kofi Kingston flying over the top rope, taking out Owens. We had Owens nail a frog splash. Kofi kicked out. We had Owens nail a picture-perfect senton bomb. Kofi kicked out. I love Kevin Owens' senton bomb. He does it beautifully. Absolutely beautifully. Kofi ended up winning with Trouble in Paradise, sending a message towards Dolph Ziggler ahead of his match against him at Super Showdown. The next segment was, after the next segment was actually very good, and that was of Bryan and Rowan speaking the truth about how the SmackDown Live Tag Team division is a joke. But that wasn't because of who's in the division, that's because of WWE's booking. Bryan said that him and Rowan are going to be the planet's tag team champions. They're going to save the planet. They're going to educate the unwashed masses. Pretty much what Daniel Bryan's been saying for the last however many months. And Daniel Bryan's fantastic, by the way. He was giving the pigs that were used to make hot dogs for Memorial Day, and the burgers that were used and the cows that were used to make the burgers for Memorial Day, they were giving them names. I think Brian called the pig Wiggles and the cow Wilbur. And I was actually laughing my ass off at that. And I think I heard the crowd chanting "Thank you, Wiggles" during this segment. Daniel Bryan, that right there, that's comedy done right. If you want comedy done right, that is comedy done right, because it's in a serious tone, but the way that Daniel Bryan's coming off, like, how can you not laugh at that? That's funny. That is genuinely funny. I actually had 2 doses of Wilbur on Memorial Day. I apologize, Daniel Bryan. This led to Heavy Machinery coming out. They wanted the tag team titles, but Daniel Bryan and Rowan walked away. This I can get behind. I can get behind Heavy Machinery in the tag team title scene. Why? Because Heavy Machinery are very entertaining at what they do. And against Bryan and Rowan, you know Bryan and Rowan are going to be that much better as heels, that they're going to get Heavy Machinery over that much more. And look, I have no problem with this, but I would have rather Heavy Machinery have competed in matches and actually earned their way to a title match instead of just challenging Daniel Bryan and Rowan, and Bryan and Rowan just accepting out of the gate. Most likely this match will take place at Super Showdown. It'll probably be one of the only good things about Super Showdown. We had Mandy Rose versus Carmella. This was basically a standard women's match. Mandy Rose gets the win here. After that, we actually had a promo with Aleister Black, and Aleister Black said, "Everyone's waiting for me to pick a fight with someone, but there lies our conundrum, because I'm desperately waiting for someone to pick a fight with me." If that's the case, then I happen to know a certain someone who might be a very interesting first fight for Aleister Black. And that has to do with, the creator of the Firefly Funhouse. Can you imagine Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black in a feud? Just putting that out there. The 24/7 championship continues to be an absolute embarrassment. And then on top of that, we had the 24/7 championship shit, and then Shane McMahon Appreciation Night. Shane McMahon promised to beat down Roman. R-Truth came in and defeated Drake Maverick to defend the 24/7 title. The 3 men beat down Truth, Claymore to Truth, and then Elias pinned Truth to win the 24/7 championship. Elias, and I tweeted this out, Elias won a title that's just as worthless as he is. I'm telling you right now, if anyone defends this 24/7 title bullshit, I am coming to verbalize you. I'm coming to verbally victimize you. And I'm going to call it verbalize you from here on out. I'm coming to verbalize you, and I am coming for your head. Not literally. And then what happened after this, I actually thought was a complete joke, because I actually stepped away from the TV. I stepped away from the TV to take a piss. I came back, and then I started scrolling through social media, and I saw a picture of an ad advertising the Lucha House Party versus Lars Sullivan at Super Showdown in a 3-on-1 handicap match. But yet, Super Showdown is supposed to be as big or bigger than WrestleMania, right? I swear, man, it's scary. It is scary, and it is terrifying how people in this position of power and make this much money can be this stupid. It's scary. Bayley then defeated Lacey Evans. This was nothing special here. Bayley gets the win over Lacey Evans, and I'm happy. I'm happy that Bayley is being portrayed like a star. I'm happy that Bayley is being portrayed like an actual champion, that she's getting wins, that she's in a prime position, but in the back of my mind, I know for a fact that this is merely done to keep Bayley happy so she doesn't follow in the footsteps of Sasha Banks. How much longer before Bayley loses the title? Bayley shouldn't be losing the title until SummerSlam. I'm not sure how much longer it is until Bayley gets too comfortable or WWE decides to take the title off of Bayley because they feel that they've given Bayley enough slack. And then they're going to go right back to the same shit that they were doing with Bayley before Money in the Bank. Lacey then got taken out by Charlotte, so that alliance between Lacey and Charlotte's over. Main event, Reigns and R-Truth defeated Elias and McIntyre. I didn't even watch this match. All I know is Reigns and R-Truth won, and then R-Truth got back the 24/7 championship from Elias. And no matter how good R-Truth is, this 24/7 title is an absolute embarrassment. It's an absolute waste of time. I don't even know what else I can say. I think I've repeated and reiterated myself over and over and over and over again, and I'm just sick and fucking tired of it. I am sick and fucking tired of reiterating and repeating the same thing over and over again. But yet, some people just don't fucking get it. You don't get it! The evidence is right in front of your face that this company needs to change, Vince McMahon needs to go, and what they're doing with shit like the 24/7 title, Shane McMahon Appreciation Night, Roman Reigns, Elias, Baron Corbin, this stupid Brock Lesnar Party Rock Anthem knockoff. It's fucking stupid! I'm gonna fucking lose my voice before I even record part 2 of the Lightning Flash update. I'm telling you, you motherfuckers better get me to 2,000 subscribers by SummerSlam. I'm telling you right now, after what happened on Raw and after what happened on SmackDown, I am going to tell you this, and if you do not understand what I'm trying to tell you, then you don't deserve to be anywhere near the term wrestling whatsoever. If WWE, this is the gospel truth, and if you deny it, you can go fuck yourself. If WWE continues to put on shows like this, if WWE continues to put on SmackDowns like this and Raws like this, they are going to see a significant drop in ratings. The ratings are going to continue to drop. Fans are going to stop watching. They're going to lose their fan base. Meanwhile, AEW, if they keep putting on shows like we saw at Double or Nothing, they're going to gain more fans. And because of that, pretty soon, WWE is going to start losing money. WWE is going to start losing money. The more the ratings drop, the more the fans will leave WWE, the more fans will gravitate towards AEW, the more money WWE will lose. It's common logic. It's common logic. That's exactly what's going to happen. And if you do not believe that, then you have to be the most delusional son of a bitch walking the planet today. It's common sense. Common sense. WWE is going to be responsible for them losing fans, losing ratings, and losing money. Simple. And truthfully, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Because if these are the shows that Vince McMahon's going to continue to put on going into October when AEW launches their weekly television program, this is what I was afraid of. WWE isn't going to change. WWE isn't going to change. Vince McMahon's still making the decisions. And Vince McMahon was trying to bring about change when there was no competition. He brought about the wild card rule and the 24/7 title. Those were his answers. Well, the 24/7 title was USA Network's idea. But the wild card rule was one of his answers to the significant drop in ratings, and it did nothing. It did nothing. It got old. What do you think's going to happen in the coming months? The ideas that Vince McMahon comes up with to fix Raw and SmackDown, they don't work. They're only going to make the product worse. Therefore, the ratings will drop, fans will gravitate towards AEW, and WWE will lose money. It's exactly what's going to happen. If you don't think that, then, I don't really know what to tell you. You're a poor lost soul in this wrestling community, and you need to get yourself checked out. You need to get yourself checked out. Let's move on to an actual wrestling show that I can actually be proud of, and that's 205 Live. And 205 Live actually had a lot going on. 205 Live had a lot going on. A lot of storylines being built on 205 Live. First of all, let me just say, number one, if you're not watching 205 Live, you're living life as a wrestling fan wrong. Number two, Number two, I haven't said this in a while, but I'm going to continue to say this. And I've said this before, and you know what I'm going to say. It is absolutely sad that Triple H can put on a good show with a depleted 205 Live roster. Meanwhile, Monday Night Raw and SmackDown have stacked rosters, yet they can't even give us a halfway decent show. We haven't had a decent episode of SmackDown Live in months. We haven't had a decent episode of Raw in years. Meanwhile, each and every single week, Triple H has lost Lio Rush, Hideo Itami, TJP, Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali, Buddy Murphy, and he's still putting on good shows on 205 Live. It's unreal. It is unreal. It is scary. It's scary. Look at the rosters that Raw and SmackDown have, but yet we can't even get a halfway decent show. I don't know what else to say. 205 Live was a very good show. It built a lot towards future storylines for the brand. We started off with a decent match between Mike Kanellis and Brian Kendrick. These two went right after each other. Brian Kendrick and Mike Kanellis, they took a rough bump to the outside, a suplex off the steps to the floor. Back into the ring, Brian Kendrick kept on trying to lock in the captain's hook, but Mike Kanellis would not tap out. We had back and forth boots and super kicks between the two. Mike Kanellis hit a Nation-Uku driver, or a Samoan driver, whatever you want to call it, a modified Samoan driver, picked up Brian Kendrick into that twisting DDT, or that swinging neckbreaker that he does, and Mike Kanellis got the win over Brian Kendrick. Mike Kanellis building some momentum, and I'm assuming that Mike Kanellis could very well be next in line for the Cruiserweight Championship, number one contendership, depending on which route they decide to go. I've been calling Humberto Carrillo after Akira Tozawa, but we'll see where that goes. But regardless, decent match to kick off the show, and Mike Kanellis gets the much-needed win over Brian Kendrick. Tony Nese actually personally requested Akira Tozawa to be his next challenger. I'm very much looking forward to that, and I like that aspect. Tony Nese, being a fighting champion, Tony Nese wants the competition. So I'm assuming that match will take place at Super Showdown. Daivari was getting stitches in his left ear, I believe, and he promised Oney Lorcan that he was going to be responsible for his next set of stitches. Daivari, building off storyline in that Fatal 5-Way. Oney Lorcan injured Arya Daivari. Daivari wants to get revenge on Oney Lorcan. And Oney Lorcan cut a promo later on in the show before the main event, and Lorcan promised to give Daivari more stitches. So now we have an undercard feud between Daivari and Oney. We got Mike Kanellis being built up. We got the Cruiserweight Championship title picture between Tony Nese and Akira Tozawa heading into Super Showdown. Noam Dar then defeated a jobber, and Noam Dar is back on 205 Live as a heel. And you gotta respect Noam Dar for flying back and forth between NXT UK and 205 Live. Noam Dar pulling double duty. He actually cut a fantastic promo saying that, everyone is, just calling everyone dafties, and saying that Noam Dar, he's, a bit jet-lagged from flying back and forth between NXT UK and 205 Live. Then he goes, "Goodbye, good night, Oklahoma sucks." And then he started doing MJF's gimmick, but instead of flipping the middle finger, he started flipping his pinky. I was laughing my ass off throughout this entire promo. Noam Dar as a heel is fucking hilarious. And if they want to push Noam Dar as a top heel, and if he continues to deliver promos like this, I am all for it. Noam Dar is fantastic as a heel. I absolutely love it. I was laughing my ass off. And then we had a very good match in the main event between Humberto Carrillo and Jack Gallagher. It started with a game of one-upsmanship. Whatever you can do, I can do better. Then we had Humberto Carrillo getting back into it. He caught Jack Gallagher with a springboard diving headbutt off the ropes, and then hit the Fosby flop to the outside. Back into the ring, Humberto, hit the standing moonsault. Gallagher kicked out. Humberto hit springboard enziguri off of the ropes, and Gallagher still kicked out. Gallagher ended up taking out Humberto, I believe, with a back superplex. Gallagher was running at Humberto on the outside. Humberto hip-tossed him into the barricade. We get back into the ring, and Jack Gallagher hit the gentleman's drop kick, hit a huge suicide dive to Humberto, threw Humberto back in. Jack Gallagher was going for a dive. Humberto got his feet up, rolled through. He rolled through, but Gallagher kicked out. And then we had Gallagher get caught with an enziguri. Humberto went for a suplex. Jack Gallagher had Humberto up, and I figured he was going to hold him up there, but Humberto countered into a DDT, spiked Jack Gallagher right on the top of his head. Looked brutal. And then Humberto hit that twisting splash off the top rope. Looked beautiful. And Humberto gets the win over Jack Gallagher in a very good match. Humberto continues and continues and continues to get big wins. This is the 4th win in a row that Humberto's got. He got the win over Gulak, got the win in the Fatal 4-Way, he got the win in the tag team match, and now he beat Jack Gallagher. After Super Showdown, Humberto is the next challenger. Humberto is the next challenger after Akira Tozawa. Humberto and Nice at Stomping Grounds is pretty much all but confirmed now. And I can't wait for it. Very good 205 Live. A lot of stuff going on. Speaking of a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff was going on in NXT UK as well. A lot of stuff was going on in NXT UK as well. Walter, Fabian Eichner, and Marcel Bartel kicked off the show. And Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner pretty much stated that they are here to change the landscape of NXT UK. Walter said they are hereby known as Imperium. Pete Dunne came out. He brought along his friends from British Strong Style, Tyler Bate and Trent Seven. We had a big brawl, and Sid Scala confirmed a 6-man tag team match. A 6-man tag team match in merely 2 weeks. Merely 2 weeks. So we're going to see how that plays out. I'm very much looking forward to that. Imperium and British Strong Style, I love what they're doing. I love what they're doing with them. We had Gallus. It was Mark Coffey and Wolfgang of Gallus defeating Carlos Romo and A-Kid in a tag team match, which was pretty much a squash. Only went about like 4 minutes. And Gallus got the win. Gallus obviously still building momentum. Next week, we got the Fatal 4-Way between Jordan Devlin, Dave Mastiff, Joe Coffey, and Travis Banks to determine the new #1 contender for the WWE United Kingdom Championship. Isla Dawn joined forces with Zaya Brookside, so I'm assuming that Isla Dawn and Zaya Brookside, they are going to be the first to step up to Ginny and Jazzy Gabbert. And obviously we got Ginny and Jazzy Gabbert, who are pretty much the female UK version of Shawn Michaels and Diesel, which I'm liking. I'm liking it very much. So that's going to be it's probably going to be a women's tag team match next week. You never know. We had Cassius Ohno versus Gentleman Jack Gallagher. This was a good match, and I liked the pacing of this match. It started off in the feeling out process. Both men were playing a game of one-upsmanship, kip-ups, and grappling holds. We then started getting into more of the striking exchange. Jack Gallagher using those headbutts to good use. Cassius Ohno and Jack Gallagher then started trading blows, trading strikes like headbutts and elbows near the end of this match. And Cassius Ohno hit a rolling elbow, knocked Jack completely out. The referee counted 3, but Jack's foot was underneath the rope. The ref was out of position, though. Ref didn't see it. Ref counted 3, and Cassius Ohno just quietly just moved Jack Gallagher's leg right back from underneath the rope. And that was pretty much that. Cassius Ohno using his brain, and he gets the win. Cassius Ohno gets the win, and I'm liking what Cassius Ohno has been doing in NXT UK. I'm hoping that they do something more with Cassius Ohno. I do want to see an actual feud for Cassius Ohno, because Cassius Ohno is great at what he does. So we'll see how that plays out for Cassius Ohno. And in the main event, we actually got another good wrestling match between Toni Storm and Nina Samuels. And this right here, this is what women's wrestling is all about. You would never see a woman like Nina Samuels getting an opportunity for a championship on the main roster. Because WWE, all WWE knows how to do is book women's tag team matches and have their champions lose. That's all they know how to do. You would never see women like Nina Samuels getting the correct amount of opportunities. Nikki Cross isn't even getting the correct amount of opportunities. Nikki Cross is being put in segments with Alexa Bliss and tag team matches with Becky Lynch. Nikki Cross is worth so much more than that. Nikki Cross should have gone into WrestleMania 35 to face off against Asuka for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. The sooner Triple H takes over, the better it's going to be. Especially for the women. Toni Storm versus Nina Samuels for the NXT UK Women's title. This was Toni Storm's 4th title defense. This was a good match. Good match. We had Nina Samuels just showing off her athleticism with cartwheels. Toni Storm mocked Nina Samuels and said, hey, come on. Nina Samuels was wearing down Toni Storm. We had double knees in the corner by Nina Samuels. Toni Storm fired back with her signature headbutt and her signature German suplexes. We then had Nina Samuels do a butterfly backbreaker, and she held Toni Storm up there. Butterfly backbreaker, close 2 count there. We then had Nina Samuels with a huge missile drop kick, and Toni Storm still kicked out. So at this rate, Nina Samuels doesn't know what to make of Toni Storm. She keeps on kicking out. Toni Storm does two suplexes. I believe she does 2 hatch suplexes. It was almost like a reverse half and half suplex. 2 hatch suplexes, and she rolled through on each of them. And then on the third one, from the hatch suplex, she hooks the arms and hits Storm 0 to retain the NXT UK Women's title. Also, Piper Niven and Rhea Ripley are also on a collision course. They have been for a few months. I think that Piper Niven is going to best Rhea Ripley, and in the future, probably at the next NXT UK TakeOver. I don't know when that's going to be. I thought it was going to be in July. I've been hearing rumors of it floating around that it's going to be in July. But at the next NXT UK TakeOver, I think that Toni Storm is going to lose the NXT UK Women's Championship to Piper Niven. It's either going to be to Piper Niven or it's going to be to Kaylee Ray. Kaylee Ray is fairly new. She hasn't really been seen as much as Piper Niven, and I would assume that they would go with Piper Niven based off the fact that Piper Niven is a little bit more notable than Kaylee Ray, and she's a bit more over with the crowd than Kaylee Ray. They could do Piper Niven, they could do Kaylee Ray. We're going to see how that plays out. Either way, Piper Niven and Kaylee Ray should be the next 2 in contention for Toni Storm and the NXT UK Women's title. We're going to see how that plays out. But nevertheless, good episode of NXT UK, building towards Walter and the rest of Imperium versus British Strong Style. Obviously, you got the women's division heating up. A good NXT UK Women's title match. Cassius Ohno gets a win. Really nothing to complain about. We had NXT. Mia Yim versus Bianca Belair started off the show in a decent match. Bianca Belair was mainly wearing down Mia Yim for the majority of this match. We had Bianca Belair hit her signature frog splash. We had Mia Yim with the Code Yim, that sunset flip powerbomb. We had Bianca Belair on the outside, had Mia Yim in a glam slam position and just slammed Mia Yim face first on the apron. Mia Yim made it back in the ring. Mia Yim hit Protect Your Neck and used Bianca Belair's hair as her aid. So Mia Yim gets the win over Bianca Belair in a decent match. Decent match to kick off the show. And Mia Yim could very well be looking towards a future NXT Women's Championship match. You never know. We had Kushida versus Drew Gulak. This only went about 5-6 minutes, and I don't think that they really went full throttle with this. Kushida and Drew Gulak really kept this technical, mat-based, grappling. There were very few strikes in this match. Kushida ended up getting the win with a roll-up leverage pin on Drew Gulak, and Kushida continues to impress. Drew Gulak called Kushida a coward. I'm assuming that this could very well lead to a rematch between Gulak and Kushida down the line. We're going to see how that plays out. Maybe they could set up Drew Gulak and Kushida for a rematch next week on NXT. You never know. Candice LeRae said that she had Io Shirai's back in a backstage interview with Io Shirai. And Candice LeRae, she could very well factor into what could happen at NXT TakeOver 25 when Io faces off against Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship. We're going to see how that plays out. Speaking of NXT TakeOver 25, Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, they were given a fantastic promo to hype up the most anticipated rematch of the year. I love NXT and their video packages. NXT knows how to get you hyped up about a big-time match with these types of video packages. And WWE, the only match that they're really doing a video package for is Triple H and Randy Orton at Super Showdown. Meanwhile, we've seen that match God knows how many times. They're hyping up Cole and Gargano, and they're hyping up Velveteen Dream and Tyler Breeze. And Tyler Breeze hasn't even been back in NXT for a month. And Tyler Breeze is already a bigger deal in NXT within his first week of returning than he's been all throughout his run on the main roster. Triple H taking Tyler Breeze back was the best possible decision for Tyler Breeze. And Tyler Breeze is going to be a champion in NXT this year. Tyler Breeze will be NXT North American champion at one point. It may not be at TakeOver 25, because I think that match was merely put together to do an old school versus new school type deal, because it's the 25th TakeOver. But regardless, Tyler Breeze is going to receive the correct amount of opportunities in NXT. Tyler Breeze is going to be much happier in NXT. Trust me. The main segment was supposed to be a match between Oney Lorcan and the Forgotten Sons. That didn't even last 3 minutes because Jackson Riker tried to trip up Oney Lorcan. The ref kicked Jackson Riker out. And then we had the Street Profits taking out Jackson Riker on the stage. And then the Street Profits got into the ring, and that caused the DQ. So it's a huge brawl between 3 out of the 4 teams. Then we had a brawl between the Street Profits and Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, the 2 babyface teams. And then out of nowhere, all members of the Undisputed Era start coming out with steel chairs. And they just start beating down all 4 men. We have the total elimination. Adam Cole then took a ladder, and he grabbed it, and the rest of Undisputed Era took it and just smashed it on top of Jackson Riker. And Adam Cole took the microphone and pretty much promised that this will be the scene at TakeOver, and pretty much promised that all members of the Undisputed Era are going to come out victorious. And that was the scene to end NXT. Really nothing special. It was the final show before NXT TakeOver 25. There really wasn't going to be much to talk about outside of a decent match with Mia Yim and Bianca Belair, and then it was pretty much just hype packages for TakeOver 25, and that's okay. That's okay, because with NXT, they are always on the grind, putting on great shows, and at some points, you can give them a pass. You can give NXT a pass here and there. It was the final show before TakeOver 25, and I don't think they could have done anything else to get us even more excited for TakeOver 25. I mean, you just take a look at the card for TakeOver 25, and how can you not get excited? Velveteen Dream and Tyler Breeze, Matt Riddle and Roderick Strong, Fatal 4-Way Ladder Match, Cole and Gargano, Io and Shayna. How can you not get excited about that? There was realistically, there was nothing that NXT could have done to get us more excited about TakeOver 25. We are already at our peak of excitement for TakeOver 25. But ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up part 1 the weekly show reviews part of the Lightning Flash update. As we are approaching 45 minutes, I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. Do not forget to follow me on Twitter at Man of Infamy. Do not forget to follow me on Instagram at TheDJStorms. Do not forget to check out the rundown for NXT TakeOver 25, where my man, DJ Storm's posse member Tyson Arnold starred on the show. Shout out to him. I will post a link in the description. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button, as we are about to make history again. We are about to peak 1,100 subscribers. I think we already peaked 1,100 subscribers. I actually have to check. I have not checked. I think we already peaked 1,100 subscribers. If we didn't, hit that subscribe button regardless. And I also want you to hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. Why? Because that way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best time to be on YouTube. Couple of announcements. As you know, I notified each and every single one of you on Wednesday that the Thunderscope livestream, the first ever Thunderscope livestream taking place on Sunday, June 2nd, had to be canceled because Thunder has business matters to take care of. We all have lives outside of YouTube. Obviously, it's still going to take place within the month of June. We will get to it. We are going to do the first ever Thunderscope livestream. It's not going to be on Sunday, but it will take place later on in the month of June. On Monday, the rewind for NXT TakeOver 25 will be up, and I'm currently working on getting a special guest. And if you don't already know, you're just gonna have to wait and see. You might, if you want to, you can check my Twitter, because I'm always active on Twitter, and I'm always letting people know what's going on about the brand on Twitter. Also, next Friday, after Super Showdown, next Friday, June 7th, 2019, the 14th, that is right, the 14th annual Special Edition Storm Stream will take place. I will be going live on my channel with none other than your boy Chris. Chris from Loring, if you want to go follow him on social media, on Twitter specifically, at Chris from Loring. He is one of the fastest rising YouTubers and one of the fastest rising analysts and content creators in the wrestling community. The guy isn't even at 100 subscribers yet, and he's got a lot of power, and his voice means something in the wrestling community. Shout out to him. He's going to be my guest star on the 14th annual Special Edition Storm Stream, and we are going to discuss topics over the weekend. We will get everything settled. Do not miss it, ladies and gentlemen. Do not miss it. But for now, I'm DJ Storms. Later on today, I will upload the Lightning Flash Update Part 2, where I will discuss some interesting news, rumors, and reports. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Till next time, I'm DJ Storms. Keep it real, and you have a great day.